Hey everybody, welcome back to another 40K 8th edition coverage video. I am Pete Weitzel, the Wargaming Strongman, here coming to talk to you about data sheets and PowerPoints today. Now before I get started, I do want to talk a little bit about my own perspective here coming in and talking about a lot of these 40K videos. I'm going to be honest, I've never played a game of 40K. I've watched it, I've watched battle reports, read the rules, all that, but I've never actually physically played a game. I'm coming from a old school fantasy slash Age of Sigmar background, so everything I'm talking about and framing through with my perspective is through that type of I don't want to say ideology, but perspective, I guess is the best way to say it. But with that out of the way, we are going to talk about data sheets here. Okay, so I do have codexes. I have my Space Wolves, I have my Death Watch, and I have my Imperial Knights codexes. With the new data sheets, what they've done is they've taken everything you need to know about a particular unit, their weapons you can arm them with, movement, special rules, and all that, and they've put it all on one page. Now, by doing that, they've taken, again, another quick thing from Age of Sigmar. It's really small, really minor, but I mean, if you flip open any of the battle tomes or anything like that, or just download the app and look quick, everything is there. What each weapon does, the reach, the distance that they can use them. The difference being between is it has a specific 2-hit, 2-wound. Obviously, with 40K, it's working off strength and armor modifiers. So you can see they've really simplified the data sheets and they've kept everything there. So I mean, with the old codexes, I mean, you had to flip back and forth and do all that to match, your weapon strength and to the unit. And, I mean, a lot of the codexes had basically like an appendix or an appendix in the back, which made it easy. It was pretty much for the most part on one page, but now they have everything right there for the unit. So, I mean, you can just open, okay, this unit and it has this, and you just look real quick and there it is. You don't have to go back and forth between your unit and that. It's just all right there. So they're keeping everything real nice and simple, clean, and on one page. I think that's a good step forward. It's going to simplify things. Not as much page flipping, rule looking up, all that kind of stuff. I mean, it saves 5 minutes not having to flip back and forth. Believe it or not, I mean, coming from the fantasy days, I mean, that's what you had to do, is a lot of page flipping back and forth to match everything up. But so with this, everything is nice, neat, and contained on one page, and I really like that. It's going to be simple, especially for new players like myself coming in, and it's going to keep everything together. And for the older players, I mean, hopefully, like, I haven't seen anyone say a bad thing about the data sheets. I mean, it's something really small. It doesn't really affect the gameplay really in any way, but it's a nice little touch that GW seems to be doing and keeping everything nice and together. So with that, they also had PowerPoints on there, and they discussed later on what PowerPoints are. Now in Age of Sigmar, you have the 3 ways to play: the open, the narrative, and the match play. But with generally what players do is with the narrative and the matched play is, they just use points. You don't generally have too many open / narrative games mixed together. It's usually the match play comes in together and you use your points and you kind of balance your armies out that way. From the looks of it, is that done is they've added PowerPoints, which they said is a quick way to make balanced armies, but also it seems like it's going to apply more to narrative play in terms of we don't need to know all the weapon specific points and all that. Let's just, okay, this army is X amount of power points. This army's X amount. We don't need to tally in all the little upgrades and all that. That's not important. We're just here to play a reasonably balanced army together. And then it also seems like certain scenarios, like the one they had proposed or used as an example on the website, was that if one army had higher or lower power points affected which side of the scenario they'll take, their deployment, and all that kind of stuff. So it just seems like it's going to apply mostly to narrative play more than anything. But I mean, it could work into things like match play depending on the scenarios you're playing or whatever. I mean, there's still more stuff to come out on that and how they're planning on working it. But the points cost, they look to be about the same as the last edition. So with that, I mean, it's small little things that are just making each step of play a little bit better, a little bit more unique, I guess is the best way to put it. Because like with Age of Sigmar, you don't have like your match play points are also your narrative points, and it seems like they've kind of created a third option there for the narrative play, so you don't have to have everything tallied and perfect. You can just pick two, you can just put two reasonably balanced armies together and go at it, which is good for lots of guys just starting out and they don't really know how to kit out their stuff. So I mean, like myself, I'm still experimenting and learning and finding out things. So it'll be perfect. You can just throw together a certain pointage PowerPoint army and go play against someone who has something roughly the same, and you try out a bunch of stuff without having to have all the point costs down exactly, and you can just play and work at it that way. So those are two new things from GW. Real quick video. Not a lot more rule information. I mean, those are small things. But it's been fun learning and seeing everything that's coming out. And like I said, I've never played a game of 40k, but I am planning on playing lots of 40k when 8th edition drops. I actually will probably more than likely do a how to play or learning to play 8th edition video series when it does come out. I do have a friend of mine, he's quite well versed in 40k. He's been playing probably 40k as long as I played fantasy. And he said he'd be more than willing to do things like that, and like more than likely I'll ask him if he wants to film battle reports and him teaching me the game or whatever. Just fun little things like that to help other guys who are just getting into 40k like myself learn, and it'll be a fun way to kind of learn and play the game together. So anyway, we'll talk to you guys later in the next couple GW releases, and have a good one, everybody.